Hey folks, this is Kelani. If you're someone who gets really excited for the new gear sets available in new raid tiers, I might have some disappointing news for you. It seems as though Blizzard doesn't want to continue creating tier sets for our new raids in the next expansion, and possibly for the future of World of Warcraft. We've had tier sets for so long now that it seems almost weird to say that we won't be getting set bonuses or any of the extra fun stuff going forward. So let's break down what this might mean for the future of raiding in World of Warcraft, and whether or not this could be a good change in Battle for Azeroth. Before we start, make sure to hit up that subscribe button, and if you want to help the channel grow, check out the links in the description below. So the first thing most people probably think when I tell you there's going to be no more tier sets is that you won't have any of the set bonuses to play around with. If we were a few expansions ago, I would say this would be a travesty against what World of Warcraft raid gear should be. The set bonuses were really the only cool things which affected the way your rotation played out or affected the power of certain talents. Set bonuses were kind of the only thing which changed from tier to tier for the most part outside of large balancing changes. But these days we have all sorts of sources for cool effects and abilities. The artifact system tweaked most of our abilities and gave us some cool synergies which really shaped how our rotations flow. New traits have been added as we progress through Legion as well, so we had some new fun stuff to play with and more bonus effects as the expansion went on. In the latest patch we also had the new Netherlight Crucible system added into the mix, and while the effects might not be quite as exciting as what usually comes with tier set bonuses, that still adds some extra funness. The legendaries in Legion were some of the big sources of these cool changes and effects. Some of the legendary effects were even previous set bonuses or just baseline interactions between spells. As with the artifact traits, more legendaries were added over the course of the expansion, giving us new and exciting effects to play about with. With all of these awesome effects coming from a bunch of different systems, it honestly felt like some of the set bonuses were a little boring and bland this time around. How do you keep making interesting and special set bonuses when you have so many other effects being introduced from other places? Suddenly so many choices or options are just cut off because we can already do that. I bet balancing was a huge problem for the same reason. Changing how any talents or spells worked in set bonuses could have a butterfly effect on your ideal setup. Different legendaries could become so much more powerful, different talent setups could be shifted in priority, artifact traits on relics could also become something of a problem. With all of these systems in place, I can see how set bonuses could be more restricted than in any other expansion we've played. The current plan seems to have most of these kinds of effects tied to the new Heart of Azeroth artifact system. So we could still see the effects of set bonuses, they just won't be tied to tier sets that come from raids. As the expansion unfolds, the Heart of Azeroth system could have any number of new abilities and spells added to it as well, which would keep things fresh and interesting. Pooling all of the cool effects into one system should clear up some of the clutter, and it seems like the dev team wants to move away from having a new round of set bonuses every time we plunder a new raid instance. Another discussion I can see cropping up is, does that mean we're not going to get cool new armor sets for new raids? To which I'd answer, don't be silly. This could arguably open up way more options for the art teams to develop different armor sets. In the past, it seems like each tier set has had to reflect the class that it's been created for, with the environment details taking a back seat. This is a rogue set first and a Nighthold set second. That sort of thing. Imagine if you could just say, okay, this is a leather set from the Nighthold. Suddenly you have this shift towards the raid encounter's environment design as the driving creative force for the armor set, instead of it having to fit into the fantasy of a rogue. I'm sure when creating leather armor, the designers will still look at who can equip the leather armor and use that as inspiration as well, but creating armor sets which come from a specific place, instead of creating an armor set for a specific class to wear, should hopefully open the doors for a wider variety of armor for us to equip. We could also see a much more drastic change from raid tier to raid tier, especially if the places we're going to be raiding are significantly different. It would also be interesting to see what kinds of themes may be introduced all through the different armor classes. Having the plate, mail, leather and cloth armor sets all have identifiable features which scream Pirate Raid or Queen Azshara Raid would be really cool, and we wouldn't have to be limited to just one design of each armor type. Every time a tier set has come out, you can usually pick up enough offset pieces to create a different class's tier set for yourself. Minus the set bonuses, of course. There's two ways I can see this working out. The first is that we get the same amount of designs as we currently have in those raids, so we'd have 3 cloth, 4 leather, 2 mail, and 3 plate. That covers 1 set of gear for each available class, and they sort of stick to their guns about making it more about the class than about the environment we're in. So we get tier sets, more or less, they just don't have any bonuses for equipping 2 or 4 pieces. The other option would be to reduce the sets by maybe a little bit, maybe 2 cloth, 3 leather, 2 mail, and 2 plate. Something like that, but put more time and attention to detail into those sets to really reflect the environments more than the classes. Maybe we'll have raids of one sort and raids of the other. I'm really excited to see what direction they decide to take with this. So if you're a little on the fence about the whole idea of tier sets going goodbye, one of the reasons for making this decision does make quite a lot of sense. In the past, collecting your tier set was quite a lengthy endeavour. There were 6 to 8 pieces of gear in the sets in the past, and it took months of raiding before you were likely to own most of your set. That's an exciting adventure which takes quite a good chunk of time. These days you can get your 4-piece in the first week of raiding. Some of the cutting edge guilds actively raid multiple lockouts a week with different characters to maximise how many players get their 4-piece in the first week. Without any help or loot preference, I managed to get 3 pieces my first week and finish my 4 set in the second week. You might think that's a good thing, we can gain those extra bonuses even faster. And you're right, we can, but we also lock ourselves out of those equipment slots. If your set bonus is really strong and it's tied to you always equipping 4 pieces of gear, as soon as you get those pieces, that's it. Nothing can ever replace your tier pieces except higher item level tier pieces, until the next raid comes out. We're locked into using that equipment. In an expansion where we're already locked into equipping 2 legendaries in whichever slots happen to be your best, that's a little annoying. Set bonuses have become more like shackles as opposed to fun effects, and don't even bring up equipping 4 set of your current tier and 2 set of the previous tier. That makes things even crazier. At that point you have more than half of your loot slots just constantly locked while being heavily incentivized to run old content and hope for crazy Titan Forges. Removing the set bonuses not only allows the dev team to neutralize the 2 set 4 set problem, but also frees up your otherwise locked equipment slots so you can better look forward to loot dropping. One problem I could see is this sort of devaluing raid loot. If you don't get any set bonuses from raids, what's the difference between raid loot and Mythic Plus loot besides potentially a higher base item level? If Mythic Plus loot is better optimized for you, it's going to encourage farming Mythic Plus more for loot when compared to raids because there won't be any set bonuses to offset the power of optimized stats. Without the potential of a set bonus, you're going to hunt for optimized stats more than ever, and if those pieces of gear happen to be in Mythic Plus, then you might feel like you have to farm that specific dungeon over and over and over again. Personally, I think it's a good decision going forward, as long as they use the opportunity to deliver some amazing looking gear in the raid encounters and make good use of the Heart of Azeroth system to provide us with the fun changes to spells and abilities we would usually expect from set bonuses. But what do you think about this news? Will you miss tier set bonuses, or do you think this could be a good change? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.